Once upon a time, near a busy railway station, there lived a beggar. Every day, he sat at the station asking passengers for money as they got on and off the trains. His life was simple yet hard. He relied on the kindness of others to get enough food to eat. Some days were better than others. If people gave generously, he could have a proper meal. But on many days, he barely managed to scrape by. The beggar never thought about changing his life. He believed that being a beggar was his fate and that he couldn't do anything else. His only skill was asking people for money. He often wondered why some people gave him money while others didn't even look at him. He felt sad, but accepted it as part of his life. One day, as usual, the beggar was moving between the train compartments, asking passengers for alms. While doing so, he saw a tall man dressed in a fine suit. The man had a briefcase and looked very important. The beggar thought, "This man must be very rich. If I ask him, he will surely give me some money." The beggar walked up to the man, held out his hand, and said, "Sir, please help me. I'm hungry and have nothing to eat." The tall man looked at the beggar for a moment and then asked, "You always ask people for something. But tell me, have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar was surprised by the question. No one had ever asked him this before. He hesitated and then replied, "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I have nothing to give. My life is about asking, not giving." The man smiled and said, "If you can't give anything, then why should people give you something? Life is about give and take. I'm a businessman and I believe in fair exchange. If you have something to offer, only then will I give you something in return." Saying this, the tall man boarded the train and left. The beggar stood there confused and deep in thought. For the rest of the day, the beggar couldn't stop thinking about the man's words. What did he mean by give and take? The beggar wondered. I've never given anything to anyone. Maybe that's why I don't get much money. That night, as he lay on the cold floor of the station, the beggar thought about the man's words again. He realized that the man was right. He always asked for help, but never offered anything in return. But what can I give? I'm a beggar. I don't have anything to offer, he thought sadly. For 2 days, the beggar kept thinking about this. He wanted to change, but he didn't know how. On the 3rd day, something happened that changed his life forever. The beggar was sitting near the station, watching people hurry to catch their trains. As he looked around, his eyes fell on a row of plants near the platform. The plants were full of bright, colorful flowers. The beggar thought, "These flowers are so beautiful. People love flowers. Maybe I can give flowers to people who help me." The idea excited him. He got up, walked to the plants, and gently picked a few flowers. Holding the flowers in his hands, he felt hopeful for the first time in years. He decided to try something new that day. As the beggar went back to asking for alms, he did something different. Whenever someone gave him money, he gave them a flower in return. To his surprise, people were delighted. They smiled and thanked him for the flowers. Some even gave him more money than usual. For the first time, the beggar felt happy. He realized that by giving something in return, he was making people happy, and they were happy to help him. From that day on, the beggar made it a habit to pick flowers every morning and hand them out to people who gave him alms. Days turned into weeks, and the beggar noticed a big change. More and more people started giving him money. His life was improving, and he felt a sense of pride. He no longer felt like just a beggar. He felt like someone who could bring a little joy to others. One day, while handing out flowers, the beggar saw the same tall man in the suit. He was sitting on the train, reading a newspaper. The beggar felt a surge of gratitude toward him. He walked up to the man and said, "Sir, today I have something to give you in return. Please take these flowers." The man looked at the beggar, smiled, and gave him some money. The beggar handed him a few flowers. The man was impressed and said, "Wow, you've become a businessman, just like me." The beggar felt proud and happy. The man's words encouraged him even more. That night, the beggar thought, "If I can earn money by giving flowers, why should I stop here? I can do something bigger." From that day, the beggar stopped calling himself a beggar. He saved the money he earned from handing out flowers and used it to buy more flowers in bulk. He started selling flowers to passengers at the station. Slowly but steadily, his business grew. Months passed, and the beggar, now a flower seller, became known for his beautiful flowers and warm smile. His hard work paid off, and he earned enough money to leave the station and live a better life. One day, 6 months later, two well-dressed men met on the same train. One of them was the tall man in the suit. The other man smiled at him and said, "Do you remember me?" The tall man looked at him and replied, "No, I don't think so." The man smiled and said, "I was the beggar you spoke to at this station. Your words changed my life." The tall man was surprised. "Really? What are you doing now?" The former beggar replied, "I'm now a successful flower businessman. I understood the principle of give and take that you taught me. It changed my mindset and my life. Thank you for showing me the way." The two men smiled, shook hands, and parted ways. The former beggar's continued success. From that moment on, the former beggar's flower business continued to flourish. He expanded beyond the train station, opening small flower stalls in nearby markets. Eventually, he had a team of employees who helped him run his growing business, and he began to offer flowers at weddings, events, and local celebrations. He had built a reputation for quality and kindness, making a name for himself in the city. His journey from a beggar to a prosperous businessman became an inspiration for others, proving that with a little willingness to give and the right mindset, anyone can change their life for the better. The moral of the story is that change is possible for anyone, no matter their circumstances. The key to transformation lies in embracing the principle of give and take. Offering something in return, no matter how small, can create a cycle of positivity that benefits both the giver and the receiver. The beggar's journey teaches us that by shifting our mindset from simply asking for help to also offering something valuable in return, we can change our lives, build self-worth, and create meaningful connections. True success comes not just from receiving, but from contributing to others and finding ways to make the world a little better.